Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to all of you for our today's online session on the subject Science and Technology Section A. Today, we are going to revise the Newton's 3 laws of motion and we are going to begin with our textual exercise. So, let's revise the first 2 laws of motion which we have studied in our previous session, and then we are going to study the Newton's third law of motion today. So we begin with Newton's first law of motion. An object continues to remain at rest or in a state of uniform motion along a straight line unless an external unbalanced force acts on it. Many examples we had discussed last time about Newton's first law of motion. That any object, here I had told you that inanimate object, especially it is inanimate object. Inanimate means non-living things. Non-living things, they will continue to remain at rest. For example, we had taken an example of duster or any compass box or a water bottle which is lying on the table. It will not move unless and until you are applying some force, external force. External means a force from outside acts on it, or in a state of uniform motion. The best example I had given you of the movement of any vehicles. Unless and until you are applying the brakes, the vehicle will not stop on its own. So these are the different examples which tell you about the Newton's first law of motion. Then we had studied Newton's second law of motion. For studying Newton's second law of motion, we had studied about momentum. Momentum, which was denoted by capital P. It is a product of mass and velocity of an object. So P is equal to mass into velocity. Momentum is a vector quantity because it has both magnitude as well as direction. So momentum is a vector quantity. So from momentum, how you can derive the second law? The rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied force, and the change of momentum occurs in the direction of force. Suppose, for example, you are applying a force to any object and the object is moving along the same direction. Then here we can say that rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied force and the change of momentum occurs in the direction of force. Now today we are going to study Newton's third law of motion. For studying Newton's third law of motion, you should know that here two types of forces are been seen in the nature. One is action and reaction. So, what does the Newton's third law of motion state? Every action force has an equal and opposite reaction. Every action force has an equal and opposite reaction force which acts simultaneously. We will take a good example about two students in a class. Two students are sitting on a bench. One child beats the other child on the face. What will the other child do? Now here the first child has done his action. He has beaten the second child on his face. What will you expect from the second child? Will the second child keep quiet and give the permission for the first child to hit him again? No. At the same moment, that child will react either by beating the first child or uttering some bad word. Means for the first action force which has acted, there is some opposite reaction force which acts simultaneously. So here the first child has performed the action of hitting the first child. And what has the second child done? He has given an opposite reaction by either uttering a bad word or eyes, by showing some eyes, means showing that he is angry, or he will beat the first child. Means here this opposite reaction will also be shown simultaneously, means at the same moment. That child will not wait and next day I will come and I will express my anger. No. So this example is a good example to explain Newton's third law of motion. So every action force has an equal and opposite reaction force which acts simultaneously. Now here action and reaction are the terms that express force. Action and reaction are the terms that express force. These forces act in pairs. One force cannot exist by itself. Now you know, for any action to be performed, there should be some other object on whom that action has to be performed. So you know that for action to be performed, there will always be an opposite reaction. So these forces always will be acting in pairs. They will not exist alone by itself. Action and reaction forces act simultaneously, means at the same moment. I have given you the example of two children. So you can see the reaction will be seen at that instantaneously, at that same instant. So we can say that both these forces act simultaneously, and action and reaction forces act on different objects. Now the first child has hit the second child, means you can see two different objects are there. They do not act on the same object and hence cannot cancel each other's effect. So these are the different points which you have to remember while explaining Newton's third law of motion. So here we complete all the three laws of motion. Law of conservation of momentum will be taken up in our next session because the topic is little bit big and difficult to understand. So it will be taken up in our next session. So we are going to start now with our textual exercise. First one is question number 1. Match the first column with appropriate entries in the second and third columns. You can see 3 columns are there. And remake the table. Remake the table means make the table along with proper answers besides it. Now I will read the entire columns first. Negative acceleration, positive acceleration and zero acceleration. When I had taught you the topic acceleration, I had taught you all the 3 types of acceleration. What happens in positive acceleration? The velocity of the body increases. In negative acceleration, the velocity of the body, it decreases. Whereas if you see in zero acceleration, what do you mean by zero acceleration? If the velocity of the object does not change with time, it has zero acceleration. So now the questions are: negative acceleration, the velocity of the object remains constant. A car initially at rest reaches a velocity of 50 km per hour in 10 seconds. Positive acceleration, the velocity of object decreases. A vehicle is moving with a velocity of 25 meter per second. And zero acceleration, the velocity of the object increases. A vehicle moving with the velocity of 10 meters per second stops after 5 seconds. These are our questions. Now we are going to see its answers. Now negative acceleration. You all know what happens in negative acceleration. The velocity of the object decreases. So the answer in column number 2 will be the velocity of object decreases. In column number 3, your answer will be a vehicle moving with the velocity of 10 meters per second stops after 5 seconds. You can mark in your textbook. Positive acceleration. Positive means increasing. So velocity of the object increases. Column number 3. A car initially at rest reaches a velocity of 50 km per hour. You can see the velocity. The car was initially at rest. So velocity was 0. Now it has started increasing and reached a velocity of 50 kilometers per hour in 10 seconds. So positive acceleration. Next is zero acceleration. As I have told you, if the velocity of the body does not change with respect to time. So zero acceleration, the velocity of the object remains constant, means it does not change. A vehicle is moving with a velocity 25 meters per second. That is zero acceleration. So you can see we have discussed all the three explanations about the three types of acceleration, that is negative, positive and zero acceleration. Now we move on to our next question. Keep your pens, books ready. Distinguish between, that is clarify the differences, distance and displacement. If you want to mark the first point, you can mark it in your textbook. All of you go to page number 2. All of you go to page number 2 of your textbook. You can see the very first line on that page in the green block. That is your first point for distance and displacement. So you can mark the first point in your textbook. Page number 2 in your textbook, first line, distance is the length of the actual path travelled by an object in motion while going from one point to another. There only you can see displacement is the minimum distance between the starting and finishing points. So in that green colored block on page number 2, both the definitions for distance and displacement are given. Mark it and you can write it as point number 1. Let us move to the next point. Distance does not have direction. While explaining the concept, I had told you distance does not have direction, whereas displacement has direction. Third one, distance travelled is always positive. Displacement travelled may be positive, negative or zero. So these are the 3 points. Apart from this, any other point of your choice which you feel, you can write it. First, always your definition. Second, I have mentioned it does not have direction. Displacement has direction. Third point, distance travelled is always positive. Displacement may be positive, negative or zero. We move on to our next question, that is distinguish number 2, uniform motion and non-uniform motion. If an object covers equal distances in equal time intervals, we had seen the example of Amar, Akbar and Anthony. While discussing the table, there we had discussed what is uniform and non-uniform motion. So that same definition you are going to write as point number 1. If an object covers equal distances in equal time intervals, it is said to be moving with uniform motion. If an object covers unequal distances, in place of equal you will write unequal distances in equal time intervals, it is said to be moving with non-uniform motion. This is your point number 1 for uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Always children remember, whenever you are writing any distinguish between, there mostly prefer first point as the definition of that particular term. Second is, now the object is moving uniformly, so speed of the body is constant, whereas here speed of the body is not constant. Speed of the body is constant, speed of the body is not constant. Third one, acceleration is 0, acceleration is not 0. So you got all the 3 points for uniform and non-uniform motion. I read once again. Those who want to jot down can immediately write down the points. If an object covers equal distances in equal time intervals, it is said to be moving with uniform motion. If an object covers unequal distances in equal time intervals, it is said to be moving with non-uniform motion. Speed of the body is constant, speed of the body is not constant. Acceleration is 0, acceleration is not 0. Here we complete question number 2, that is clarify the differences. Now we are going to move towards question number 3, that is complete the following table, but they are nothing but numerical examples. You can see in your textbook on page number 17 they have given complete the following table. They have given u, that is initial velocity meters per second, acceleration meter per second square, it is square, meter per second square, time in seconds, and formula they have given v is equal to u plus at v. So units are in meter per second. This all in the brackets are what? They are the units for that particular physical quantities. For u it is meter per second, v it is meter per second, a it is meter per second square, and t is time in seconds. Now these are the blanks which they have given. These values are provided to us using this formula. For the first one you have to find v, and for the second one you have to find u. So let's move towards the first one. So you know you have to find the value of v. Let us check whether they have given the values of u, a and t. They have given the value of u as 2, a and t are 4 and 3. So u will put as 2 plus a is 4 multiplied by 3. So 2 plus 4 3s are 12. Answer comes out to 14. Now here this is only for your explanation. You know they have given complete the following table. So look at the marks in the exam. If that first sum is carrying 2 marks, then you have to show the steps below the table and then enter the values in the table. If both the sums are having 2 marks together, then in your rough work also you can solve, and you can just write the answer in the blank in the table. Next one is v is equal to u plus at. Value of v they have given as 20. So 20 we are going to substitute here. U you have to find out. Acceleration is 5 multiplied by time is given as 2 seconds. Now 5 2s are 10. So this plus 10, when it comes on the left hand side it becomes minus 10. So 20 minus 10 is equal to u. So u is equal to 10. Now these same values I have substituted here in the table in the blanks. No need of writing units and all, because already the units they have mentioned in the first column. So for a while I will just wait. You can copy down the working part of the sum, and then we move to question number 3b. This is question number 3a. 3 tables are there. 2 I will work out for you. Third one C I will give you homework. We move on to the question number B, question number 3b. Again same, initial velocity in meter per second, acceleration meter per second square, time in second, and s is equal to ut plus half at square, that is t into t. Now u is in meter per second, s is in meter. S is what? Distance, so it is in meter. Again here 2 places they have kept blank. Here one is s and one is a. So the formula which you have to use is s is equal to ut plus half at square. So that formula by using, you will substitute the values. U they have given as 5, t they have given as 3. So you can see here u is 5, t is 3 and a is 12. Substitute over here. 5 multiplied by 3 plus half into 12 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3, because it is t square. 2 6 are 12. So 5 3s are 15 plus 6 multiplied by 3 is 18. 18 3s are 54. So 15 plus 54 comes out to 69. This same value you are going to put here in the answer. Next, value of s is already provided to us, 92. is equal to 28 plus half into a multiplied by 4 square, that is equal to 16. So when you cut 2 8s are 16. So here it remains 8a, 28 plus 8a, 92. This 28 will shift over here, it will become minus. So 92 minus 28 comes out to 64 is equal to 8a. You know 8 8s are 64. Therefore a is equal to 8. Now same values you will substitute here in the table. In place of a you will write as 8. So question number 3C, third table, is homework for you. There they have given the third equation of motion, that is v square is equal to u square plus 2as. By using that formula you are going to find the values of the required quantities. This way tabular form sums can also be asked in the exam. As I have told you, look at the marks and then decide whether to show the working for the sum, or you can just do the working in the rough work column and only fill the answers in the table. I will wait for a while. Those who want to copy, you can immediately copy down the answers. Now we move on to the next question, that is question number 4. Complete the sentences and explain them. Now here it is not only fill ups, but as I have told you, you have to explain why you have selected that particular answer. So the first one is, the minimum distance between the start and finish points of the motion of an object is called the dash of the object. So you all have seen in the definition, it is nothing but displacement of the object. So same that definition which you know, the minimum distance between the start and finish points of the motion is called displacement. So that only you can write as the explanation, because it is nothing but a definition. So for definition you cannot give any other explanation. Deceleration. Deceleration is dash acceleration. Now you know deceleration means when the velocity of the object it decreases, then we say that the acceleration is negative, and negative acceleration you also call as deceleration. So deceleration is negative acceleration. What explanation you will give? When velocity of an object decreases with time, it has negative acceleration. You can give as the first statement, when velocity of an object decreases with time. Those who want, you can mark the explanation on page number 5 in your textbook. Here this explanation, as I have told you, it is the same definition. Here explanation you can mark on page number 5. You can see the paragraph of positive, negative and zero acceleration. There you can see the third line. When velocity of an object decreases with time, it has negative acceleration. Negative acceleration is also called deceleration. Hence we have given this answer. Deceleration is negative acceleration. I hope all of you have marked. Those who have not marked, I expect that you all are writing, completing your books. We move on to the third fill up. When an object is in uniform motion, circular motion it should be, its dash changes at every point. Now you know that in uniform circular motion what happens? The speed is constant along the circumference, but its direction at every point is tangential. So the velocity here, it changes at every point. So here it should be uniform circular motion. When an object is in uniform circular motion, its dash changes at every point, its velocity changes at every point. Now, the working of a rocket depends on Newton's dash law of motion, third law of motion. Why third law? Because you know, when the rocket is launched, the gases which are escaping in the air exert an equal and opposite reaction on the rocket, so that it gets propelled in the forward direction. It gets propelled ahead. Now here one D question I have left aside, that is during collision dash remains constant. That after taking the topic of law of conservation of momentum, that fill up we will explain. So those who have written down will see to it that each and everything you are going to write in your notebook. You will not only write fill in the blanks. For every blank you are going to provide the explanation in your notebook at the same time. Here we complete with question number 4. Now we go to next question, that is question number 5. Give scientific reasons for. The first question is, when an object falls freely to the ground, its acceleration is uniform. When an object falls freely to the ground, you know, when any object falls freely, which is the only force which acts on the body? It is nothing but the gravitational force. So the first point is, when an object falls freely, only gravitational force is acting on the body, and there are equal changes in velocity of the body in equal intervals of time. Next you can write, the gravitational force on a given body near the Earth's surface is uniform. You know, the force which is acting on a given body near the Earth's surface. Now gravitational force, it will always act uniformly on the Earth's surface. Therefore, when an object falls freely to the ground, its acceleration is uniform. Because equal changes in the velocity of the body. Why equal changes? Because gravitational force which is acting on the body, it is uniform. I am waiting for you so that you can write down the points. First point is, when an object falls freely, only gravitational force is acting on the body, and there are equal changes in velocity of the body in equal intervals of time. The gravitational force on a given body near Earth's surface is uniform. Therefore, when an object falls freely to the ground, its acceleration is uniform. We move on to the next give reason. Even though the magnitudes of action force and reaction force are equal and their directions are opposites, their effects do not get cancelled. Now here children, you can mark this answer in your textbook. A direct answer is given in the textbook on page number 1414 under the heading Newton's third law of motion. If you want, in your slide also, I can just go to that particular topic. Just now in the beginning, we have discussed Newton's third law of motion. So we are going to go to the same point. So marking will be easier for you. In the meanwhile, all of you refer page number 14 in your textbook. See, under the heading Newton's third law of motion. This first point, action and reaction are the terms that express force, that you will write as it is. Second point, these forces act in pairs. One force cannot exist by itself. Don't write the third point, act simultaneously on. This you take as the third point. Action and reaction forces act on different objects. They do not act on the same object and hence cannot cancel each other's effect. You can see on page number 14 that yellow colored box is given in the textbook. So all the points as it is you can mark. Only this third point you can skip. No need of writing this point. You can take this fourth point as your third point and complete with the reason. Herewith we stop for our today's session. Our next give reasons and further questions along with numericals and the topic of law of conservation of momentum we are going to complete in our next upcoming session. Till then, all of you children are expected to complete your notebooks and do the reading of each and every topic very thoroughly. Thank you.